Hi, I'm Joe Ragosta from the band Patent Pending, and you're watching Visions4Dreams TV. Be sure to subscribe somewhere down there. Is that where the button is?
Hi, today we're here backstage at O2 Academy. We're going to have a chat with Joe from Patent Pending. They're on tour here in the UK, several days, so just catching them here at the O2 Academy in Liverpool. Just going to find out about some of the influences and where they're up to now. Okay, just tell us a little bit about how you guys got started and what prompted you to kick off the band.
So when I was a kid, I was a nationally ranked hockey player. I know that's a terrible place to start as to why a band started, but anyway, I was nationally ranked. I was on like the national team and playing a lot of hockey my whole life. And then I broke my ankle. And when I broke my ankle, I was going insane because my whole life was hockey and I couldn't play. So I picked up a guitar and I made my brother teach me how to play a Blink-182 song. And then from there, I was too bad at guitar to learn anybody else's songs. So I had to start writing my own because I was awful, dreadful. And then we started playing some shows and it just became my life. You know, it was just everything I wanted to do. And 12 years later, here we are touring and going crazy.
What were some of your early experiences, obviously as a band starting out and you not having any experiences of that before? What were some of the challenges you had and how did you deal with those?
Well, we're incredibly optimistic people, so we never knew that we were awful. And over time, we kind of learned how to play. And our early experiences kind of shaped us to who we are today because we were so bad at music that if we wanted people to not completely clear out while we were playing, we had to put on a show. So our show, if you see it now, like we do play music now, kind of well, I guess, but it's also a bit of a circus when we play because when we were kids, we had to learn a way to entertain people while we were playing these terrible songs. So yeah, it really helped shape us to be the band that we are now, and it kind of prepared us for anything.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to mention, that there's a certain playfulness about your style, your appearances, and your performances. So it is, like you say, a real act. So that means that the audience gets a massive treat. So what are your influences behind all of that from the days when you first started writing up to now, and how has it changed?
Well, I've always been really into comedy. Like just, anything comedy. And then we pulled from, I love music, everything from the Beach Boys and the Beatles all the way up to Blink-182 and Green Day. And one of our biggest influences is this band Bowling for Soup, who actually gave us our first break here in England. They took us here in October for this huge, massive tour. And because we were on that tour and it went well, now we're able to tour here alone in England. So it's an incredible gift that Bowling for Soup gave us. They've always been one of our biggest influences. So, we kind of learned at a young age that music can be serious and it can have a serious message, which a lot of our songs do, but it can also be fun and exciting, which a lot of our songs also do.
Yeah, that brings me on to your new album, Second Family. How would you describe that and what was sort of the ideas inside that?
Like every Patent Pending record, and as we're getting older and learning more about music and learning more about making the sounds that we hear in our heads transfer to real life, now that we have that ability, it kind of gives us the freedom to create a full album. Like, we don't want it to be just a rock album. We don't want it to be just an acoustic album. We don't want it to be just punk or rock or pop. We want everything because we love everything. So the album Second Family is kind of an eclectic mix of exciting, rambunctious punk rock and then more heartfelt songs like this song, One Less Heart to Break, which deals with standing up against teen suicide. But then we also have songs about the TV show Dexter and The Walking Dead and stuff like that. So, we're clowns and we're also very serious people.
And one of the highlights of your career would have been performing at the Music Awards last year. What was that like for you?
Everything. You're not even from that country. You're amazing. You're my hero, Fufa.
I like that. Did you hear that?
He's my hero. All right, so last year we had this unbelievable opportunity. We've been at this forever. And every once in a while we get a great break, and then it's the ups and downs of being in the music business. Like anything creative, you're gonna have some ups and downs. And last year was just an incredible, bombardment of ups. It was awesome. So we got called to do this thing with the Billboard Music Awards, and we went across the country and we did this whole song and dance and blah blah blah. And the long story short is we got to perform live on international TV in front of millions and millions of people. Doing stuff that we grew up doing in our basement and our garages, So it was really cool. It was kind of a really life-affirming moment to perform at the Billboard Awards because Justin Bieber played. the same exact stage. Right before we went on, CeeLo Green was performing with the remaining members of the Beastie Boys. Like, these are not Justin Bieber, he's great, but whatever. But you know, the Beastie Boys, those are heroes. You know, like, these are people that we've looked up to our whole lives. So to be able to share a stage with them really kind of justified the previous 11 years of sleeping on floors and eating ramen noodles because we didn't have any money, and you know, driving in an old broken down van and running out of gas and pushing it 2 miles down the highway so we can get where we're going. So you know, it was a really life-affirming moment. And actually, a fun story about British people. Tayo Cruz, he's from here, right?
Yeah.
Tayo Cruz introduced us on the Billboard Awards, so it was our first big international spotlight. And you guys say our name different than we say it.
Yeah.
We say patent pending in America. Here, it's much more classy sounding. You say patent pending. So in front of millions of people for the first time, he says our name, he's like, patent pending, and I was just like, nice. But I guess that kind of foreshadowed all the love we're getting from British people now. So, way to go, Tayo Cruz. You nailed it. Thank you.
That's excellent. So obviously you've charted for us very quickly, very speedily the way you talk, your journey from sleeping on floors, doing it rough, doing it the hard way. What would you say your inspirational message to those out there who want to do it like you do?
Well, you know, for everything that you do in your life, whether it's something serious, whether it's athletics, music, TV, movies, video production, whatever it is, you just got to make sure you're doing what you love. And if you love doing what you're doing, you never have to work a day in your entire life. So there's different ways to get into all these fields. And like people who love music but don't know how to play, like our tour manager, he just figured out a way to go on tour anyway. And he loves music, can't play, can't sing anything. But he was like, I'm coming with you guys. And now that's what he does with his life. So, you know, there's so many avenues, and just don't give up on what you're doing, because if you love it, you'll never want to give up.